Welcome. This is another episode of Conversations with DrCybersecurity, where people from all over the world come and chat with me on questions and topics that they are interested in. Most of the time, I have no idea what they're going to ask. Many times, I'm meeting the person for the first time. And I have such a guest today, Kyle Ebert. Kyle, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello. I actually just graduated from a computer science and software engineering degree from Pensacola Christian College back in last December of 2019. And well, actually, I just got interested into cybersecurity like about 4 years ago. Um, and I wanted to get more into it. So I first got into a Facebook group and I got really involved in there, and then some like online free internship and learned a whole bunch more in those internships that I had. And even in my system administration internship I had, they like also had gave me a little touch of security there, working with security analyst, security engineer, even their penetration tester there. So I got a lot of experience working with them, and I got to learn from them too.
That is
Since then, like I was
wonderful.
also
Yeah, continue.
and that same year, that same year, I was also noticed on LinkedIn and invited to volunteer for a company at Black Hat,
Mm.
and that was also another big point for me. And they'd always let me come back whenever whenever I asked, and they had room. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go this time since the COVID pandemic, but I'm always looking forward to going back and helping out whenever I can. And then since then, like I've been working, like studying more cybersecurity classes that have been offered at my college, and only one like really interested in cyber. So I've actually created a cybersecurity Facebook just for my college, and then questions and other articles just to help get my college, get more people from my college interested into cybersecurity. And so since I graduated from my college, I know there's some things I need to like, help look at my resume. Like, you need people say you need a degree, experience. Like I've had an internship. I got my degree now, and then well, I also got my Security Plus certificate back in February.
Mm.
Um, so next thing I'm actually trying to look for and working with the government.
Mhm.
Although that's always very hard since you need security clearance. Um, so I've been working my way there, but I haven't found someone that would take me.
Mhm.
So actually, my route with that right now is that going. I'm actually in the process of going to the Air Force Reserves right now.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'll go do that training, get my clearance, but I
Mhm.
can still, um, you know, only serve the military once a month while still working my regular civilian job um, outside of that. So basically get the both best of both worlds.
That is an amazing introduction. You sound like a really well rounded person who has thought about a lot of things. And you also approached it like a leader, where you went to Facebook, you went to Black Hat, volunteered, and now you're going to go for your clearance. This is absolutely amazing. So, those are the kinds of people that actually do well in this field because this field requires leaders and thinkers because this is not a field where it's like mathematics 2 plus 2 is always 4. It's always about what is the best answer. And usually that involves a lot of thinking. That is why my favorite topic is leadership because without that, nothing else works. So I'm very impressed with your introduction. That is absolutely wonderful. So,
Oh,
what
thank you.
questions or topics do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I remember I mentioned I saw your show a long time ago, and then I wanted to get on a lot earlier, but like it's a lot of conflict with work and everything.
Hmm.
And at the time, I was like, how do I get a job? I'm struggling. I have all these people trying to help me get a position with the government, but I don't have clearance. That was my only
Hmm.
part. So at the time, that was like my question, like, how do I get a job when I don't have clearance?
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you have any other suggestions besides joining the military. I mean,
Hmm.
I've always wanted to join the Air Force, anyways.
Hmm.
Um, Otherwise,
Where do you live?
yes.
So let's learn about
Oh,
that a little bit. Do you have any geographic limitations?
okay. So I'm actually in Las Vegas,
Okay.
so that's also made it easier for me to go into Black Hat.
Hmm.
So I noticed around here, like there's like quite a bit of big companies here, but they have a small presence, like Lockheed Martin or
Hmm.
Raytheon, Northrop
Hmm.
Grumman.
Hmm.
Like they are here, but they only have a small presence. So
Hmm.
I'm assuming that they want people who already have, and most of those places, and like the positions that they require,
Hmm.
that they require you to already have clearance,
Hmm.
and that they won't provide it for you. There's just like such a small presence, and like you don't have like much, like not a big office, not a lot of other people to work with there.
Okay. So first of all, clearance is only required by the federal government and federal government contractors. So there's state government, there are universities, all kinds of private sectors. So I basically worked for 30 plus years in very high risk environments, including nuclear power plants, state governments, biotechnology organizations, healthcare. I never needed a clearance because those kinds of sectors don't need a clearance. Now, when I
Mhm.
was actually a contractor with the federal government one time, it was only for a very short time, 5 months. And at that time, they did put me into the clearance process. And as a matter of fact, that was the one time that my personal identification got breached. If you remember the OPM breach that happened, I was a victim of that, even though I never actually held a federal government clearance. So
Oh
it's
well,
not necessarily a good thing to have that clearance.
yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of jobs. My recommendation to you is this: if you have geographic limitations, then focus on companies that you want to work for in those geographic areas. Instead of looking for a job, look for companies. What are some companies that you want to work for? Then try to create networking relationships with somebody in that company, just like you built a relationship with me through networking, because you
Mhm.
might have somebody who knows somebody in the company that you want to work for. So building that networking relationship and then looking for a introduction. For right now, plenty of Zoom meetings and things like that. You might be able to get a meeting with somebody in the public relations office in that kind of a company. You might be able to get a conversation with somebody in HR where you could say, what's your company like? I just want to understand. I mean, right now, I'm not looking for a job in particular, I'm not applying for a job. I am just trying to figure out the companies that I want to work for.
I
Put it
believe I
that way.
already have those figured out too.
Ah, okay. Great.
Yeah, so like therefore I mentioned like I have like my connections already, and like
Hmm.
and some of them are basically in the exact position that I would like to be for years. And that's where I mentioned that they said they could have gotten me there, but only if I had clearance.
Mm.
And like I have other HR, they're like, oh yeah, they're like trying to get me a job, and then they sent my resume in, but
Hmm.
then the actual hiring manager actually, um, this was like one position that actually was going to sponsor
Hmm.
for a clearance,
Hmm.
but then I don't know why this is where I got to do another roadblock, but the hiring manager actually just turned my application down, and I never got an interview.
Right. Right now, you're going through that strange situation where, because there are so many layoffs and things like that going on, the supply of people with clearance is a little bit higher because of that. So you're running into
Hmm.
that a little bit because somebody, a fresh graduate, is usually one of the top plum picks for almost anybody. They look for those people
Hmm.
because they know that here's somebody that we can groom, mold, and basically get a lot out for the next maybe 30, 40 years. Who knows? So, yeah, you're running into a little bit of that. But I wouldn't give up. I think the key thing is for you to continue building your brand like this. You might suddenly find that somebody's reaching out to you rather than you going out to look for a job
Yeah,
because you're doing
there's.
exactly what is required, which is continuing to grow.
Mhm.
You are not stopping. That is the beautiful part. The other thing I would suggest also is writing. So, for example, if you
Oh
have
yes, I have
read,
have 4 blogs up.
sorry, what? You
Yeah,
have,
I actually have a blog. I have written in like 4 articles on Medium.com.
nice. Are you posting that on LinkedIn also?
Um, I think I just posted just the link to my website. I think that's it.
Sure, but no, you should post the articles multiple times. Post every article once a month. So, repetition in marketing. So, one of the things
Hmm.
that is very key about personal branding is marketing. Well, marketing means repetition, but it's not advertisement repetition. So, the modern world of marketing, which I've actually written in this new book that I just brought out, and I sincerely recommend that if you want to understand personal branding and marketing yourself, this is a great book to read because all my expertise in marketing and branding and all that is in there. Plus, there are stories of people who have followed the methodology to succeed themselves. For example, you may know, I think, Katia Dean or Tomiko
Yes.
Evans, right? Katia Dean just won ISC Square's 2020 Rising Star Award. Well, her story is actually in there because she was one of my mentees from 2017. Tomiko Evans won last year. She was my mentee also from 2017. So they actually followed the methodology. I've been wanting to write this book for 2 years. I just never had the time. But finally, I now
Okay.
have the time. So I just decided, okay, something good is going to come out of COVID for at least my life. Get the book out.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I talk about that. How you will notice, even on my posts, some article that I've written 4 or 5 years ago, I will repost that. Some video that I might have done 3 or 4 years ago, I will repost that. Key is the marketing piece must be content marketing, which is value. You must give your community value. Whatever you share cannot be a pure marketing piece. It must inform people, make them knowledgeable, and then they say, okay, this is good. If you notice what even Katia does all the time, everything she's sharing is mostly knowledge oriented, but there's always a marketing element to it. There has to be.
Yeah, I
But
see.
it cannot be a, hey, and it cannot be all about yourself alone. You have to talk about other people. If you've read somebody else's book, write a review on that one. What was some of the best takeaways from that? Just like 2 or 3 days ago, Katia, after she purchased my book, she went to chapter 5, and there was a line in chapter 5 that impressed her, which was about you do not have to be perfect. You just need to perfect your uniqueness. That was one of the things that I wrote in
Hmm.
that chapter. That struck her because how many people are trying to be perfect? Well, you can never be perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we are all unique. There is nobody in this entire world like me. There's nobody in this entire world like you. So, perfect that uniqueness. What is so special about Kyle? You see, the
About.
combination of things that
Okay.
you have, nobody else has.
Hmm.
So don't worry about this. I don't have this clearance. I don't have that. Don't worry about the things you don't have. Worry about the things you do have. And the things you do have, nobody else has it.
Yes.
That's what I've done. I mean, when I came to this country, my skin was brown. I had an accent, but that was my starting point. That was my strength. That is what made me unique. My name. It was probably the only name in the entire university, probably the entire state, may even be the entire country at that time. But that was my strength. People had a hard time pronouncing it, but that's great. Then they learned it better. You see, I was never, ever like rejecting myself. You have to embrace yourself,
Okay.
including everything that you have,
Yeah.
and then walk with confidence.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I mentioned everything. So there's another like I also have another question, but
Hmm.
before I go along with that, so first of all, I mentioned I graduated with a degree in Pensacola Christian College, but I was actually I was there for 6.5 years because I was actually pursuing three computer majors and like four minors.
Okay.
Like I graduated with computer science, software engineering, but I
Hmm.
also pursued computer system information and cybersecurity, which came
Hmm.
in later at the end. But I left because I wanted to, start, getting paid and working at a job.
Hmm.
Although I was literally like a few classes away from finishing,
Hmm.
and also the cybersecurity course would not have been able to be finished until this next semester when they'll offer the last course.
Hmm.
Um,
So, what they
and
call cybersecurity, was it completely technical, or was there some policy or leadership elements in there?
I think it's more policy
Oh, it was
thing
on.
element.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Um, it wasn't. It was a little bit technical, but I think we're just like getting a little bit more there.
Okay.
I didn't take. Yeah, they were just starting it. It was like just a very new program. I was like the first person to take the first courses. Um, so like these are some things that people do not see my resume or even like my senior, like I was the valedictorian in high school, and even then like don't know that like I had a struggle. My father passed away in my senior year of high school,
Hmm.
so I've had a lot to deal with. Um, and then so people look at my resume and like, all right, you know, like a lot of people have seen my resume and like tell me, oh, looks good, but like when I go to a hiring manager, um, they seem to always turn me down, and I never get a chance for interview.
Hmm.
But whenever I've had a chance for an interview, they always like me.
Hmm.
So
What
like
kinds of questions? So,
there's
this, if you're getting to the interview stage and getting rejected at the interview, then you may have to work on your interviewing skills, the way you tell your
oh
story.
no,
Oh, you're getting rejected even before the
I
interview.
mean my inter exactly, yes. That's the trouble that I seem to have. Like
Ah.
there's another company I've been trying to get in that does not require clearance, and they provide training.
Hmm.
I've been following them for a long time. They contacted me like 4 years ago when I back the first time I went to Black Hat,
Hmm.
and it seemed like they just been rejecting me the past like since last December, and I
Hmm.
why they don't even want to interview me.
Right. So sometimes what happens is that in a resume, they're just looking at an academic record, but they still don't know how you can apply that academic record, because especially in this field of cybersecurity, it's a very applied discipline. And part of the problem is that, okay, you were top in the class, valedictorian and all that. All right, so is it just book smarts, or what are some of the key things that you did? So actually, some of the things that you mentioned, where you went to this Facebook group and all that, where you demonstrated
Yes,
leadership and you pulled people together, these are the kinds of stories that need to be in the resume. I don't know if it's in there already or not.
I it is in the resume. I mean,
Ah,
yes, I actually mentioned I created a Facebook group. I put that on the resume.
okay. Yeah, so these are the kinds of things that will help. Usually, translating that, showing the leadership, showing your interdisciplinary framework, So hopefully, if you had some liberal arts courses also, because you certainly talk very well, your communication skills are strong. So obviously, you've had some exposure to communication skills.
Yes, I probably got that when my last couple of years in college, like I got like in charge of my friend group and I would, coordinate things for them, like coordinate events. And I was just like, I did a lot for them actually, and did like 15, 20 people, or I even coordinate something overnight. So, it takes a lot of
Project
planning and
management and leadership
yes,
and team building. Okay, well, those are things that are very valuable.
yes. And I've also learned from reading leadership books, like mostly by John C. Maxwell. So I
Hmm.
was really into that and learning more about leadership.
Okay. So have you read Cybersecurity Leadership yet?
I haven't read that actually.
Okay. Well, that's another one. So right now in the for the month of October, the ebook is only $3.69. After
Oh,
that, it
okay.
goes up to $9.99. So take advantage of that. And
Yeah,
if you're
sure.
into leadership, this will actually help you frame and talk about cybersecurity and help you understand the people aspects of it. That's what this book is
Mhm.
all about. There is no technology or anything in that book. It's all about how I did it for the last 30 some years.
Okay.
So,
Also,
anyway, what other questions do you have?
okay.
I have a couple of minutes.
Well, I'm also gonna mention that like my friend actually just came to me. I mean, I just got back to an old friend of mine, and he told me, oh yeah, he's doing cybersecurity. So I'm like,
Mhm.
oh really? But he's very new to it. So I'm like, so I started a thing. We're gonna meet up every once a week, and I'm gonna just start taking him, like, hey, here's what you should learn from. And I told him about Hack the Box. We started going through a little bit,
Mhm.
and like I like to teach other people too. It helps me refresh my mind, but I just like to help other people go through the process too.
Beautiful. That's another thing that you could be doing even right now. So you could be you're doing that, and that should be in the resume also. That you are a continuous
Hmm.
learner, and you also learn by teaching others. That is the best way to learn. That's actually my way to stay sharp. I mean, I was a CIO, but I could still configure a router, firewalls, and all of those things during my entire 12 years as a CIO. Actually, could do all of that. Most CIOs cannot do that today.
Okay.
All right, Kyle, this was wonderful talking with you. And if you have any other questions, we can still chat a little bit, but I'm going to now stop the recording and
Sure.
we'll go into the networking hour. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you for
Kyle.
your time.